So in my last video, I was actually given some very interesting feedback in that if the original Super Mario Bros. 2, America version at least, is a hack, as it were, of a Japanese game originally called Doki Doki Panic, why not show some of it? So that's what I've started out here with. This is the actual title sequence from what's known as Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, which literally translates into English as Dream Factory Heart-Pounding Panic, since Doki Doki is the Japanese onomatopoeia for a beating heart. So you see here, this is the title sequence, and it's more of an Arabian tale, and as you can see here, the characters are distinctly different. They are not Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess. They are, in fact, Imogen, replacing Mario, Mama, who was later replaced by Luigi, Lena, who was replaced by the Princess, and then Papa, replaced by Toad. And the whole thing is styled as a book. And in fact, I'm going to touch on this a little bit later, but that does factor into the game somewhat. And you see here that, as I mentioned last time, the Famicom, the family computer that is the NES counterpart in Japan, is a disk system, so sometimes you would have to switch disks. Now, I've started this game as Papa, who is the character built on Toad, and you notice, contrary to the last video, that everything is quite similar, but here you start to notice a few differences. First off, that things are much more static. The bushes are not moving, and they are not the color that we're familiar with them in Mario 2. But the enemies, the Shy Guys, the Tweeters, everything is similar, and now you see a lamp was later replaced by a potion, and the mushrooms, exclusive to the Mario series, were in fact big hearts. But POW blocks are the same, but they were not yet animated. You also notice that the water moves at a much higher frame rate compared to Mario 2. Of course, by these days, that would no longer be allowed as it increases the risk of a seizure. And there was another difference in that there are no 1-up mushrooms, there are characters' heads that replace them. However, the Starman from Mario is still a thing, since the game was still designed by Shigeru Miyamoto, who designed the Mario series. Now, if you've been paying attention, you might have noticed that I haven't been moving through this level as fast as I normally would, and the reason being that the B button run was a feature exclusive to the Mario series, so you cannot actually run in this game, and as you see, I've tried to take the secret passage as I did in my last video, but I simply cannot with the character of Papa. Perhaps another player might find another way, but it appears that it requires the use of either Mama, who I mentioned was replaced by Luigi, who has the highest jump in the game, or Lena, who was replaced by Princess Toadstool. So I'm taking the long path here, and if you've ever played the original Mario 2 in America, you'll see that this screen is very similar. We have the ninjas jumping, but I have to do the special crouch jump in order to make it across the bush, since I cannot run to get up enough speed to go there myself. And I did build this into my Mario Maker 2 level, I just did not show it. And if a request were made for that, I could. At that point I threw in a few thwomps, which would throw a few people off. And as we transition here to Birdo, you'll notice everything is quite similar. In fact, the screen is identical now, minus the change in character. But here is another change, in that Hawkmouth, who is how you would originally end the level, was a mask. Now here, just like in Mario 2, there is a slot machine option, but it is very less dressed up comparatively to the Mario 2 screen, as I just put up there. And of course, since I'm not taking this seriously, I'm actually doing a pretty good job at it, but I digress. Now, here we go to 1-2. As you can see, it begins in a similar manner, but you could not select your new character. You had to go through an entire chapter with the character that you picked. But since the focus of this video is my 1-2 Mario Maker, I'm going to select Luigi and start off and transition back. Now, one thing you'll notice right away is there is no Pidget in Mario Maker, so I did these moving blocks. I probably should have put them on a slightly higher speed. As you notice, comparatively to Mario 2, I'm getting over to the land a lot quicker on the flying carpet, or whatever you want to call that thing. Okay, so now having arrived, notice I put the power booster where the potion would be in the original game. But the first pot does indeed contain an extra life mushroom, as it should. Now, little point of interesting fact here. As a beginning player of this game, years ago, I believed the only way to get past this level was to either be Luigi or Princess and perform this little trick here. Now, as a little in-joke for myself there, I included a hidden propeller cap to allow you to do the same thing, but I'm also going to show you the full level. So you see, you were in fact supposed to go get the key. Took me way too long to realize that was a key. I never made the connection since it was so big comparatively to the size of the door. But in Mario Maker, I replaced it with a P block and some boxes turning into coins to allow you access to this underground area. And since at this point in the original, you'd probably get the 5 cherries and easily get a star, I went ahead and included one there. Now, just like in original Mario 2, you can summon enough Bob-ombs to break past these blocks, but I also included the ability to break them with a ground pound. And since exiting the door there would be an opportunity to collect some coins, I just went ahead and put them there. And then finally, just like in my first level, I used Boom Boom to replace Birdo, but don't worry, that's not always going to be the case as we go throughout these. And in fact, since I'm not used to playing with Luigi on this level, I just took a little bit longer in the original game. But there is a look at both Doki Doki Panic and my newest level, so thank you and God bless.